want to tell you something very important now. Very important. Because originally the job of Adam was to ignore the advice of the Satan and then to bring down the Kedusha, just to bring down holiness, which is what? Which is the energy of the spheres. That's what he had to do. And therefore the energy of the spheres, by bringing it down when you do the mitzvahs, would dematerialize the creation. Because remember, those divine energies can create realities. The problem is they diminish, so to speak, as you get lower, you see. But what happens if you turn up the wattage? Then automatically the spheres will dematerialize the entire physical universe, turn the whole world into Olam Haba, basically. You see? So therefore, the job of Adam was to bring down the rest of the energy. But what happened? Instead, he fed the Satan. So now the Satan is called Yoinek. The Satan nourishes from the power of the Jew, because the Jew took over the job of Adam Harishon, you see. Until then it was Adam Rishon. But after 2,000 years, the Jews took over the job of Tikkun, which means that we are now connected to the Satan. That's right. If you thought you were close to your wife, forget it. You are much closer to the Satan, because the Satan and you are connected to the same cable. Every time you do a mitzvah, you deprive him of energy, and he diminishes. When you sin, you give him your energy that you would have gotten had you done the mitzvah, and he grows. In fact, the Satan is the only malach that can grow. He can either diminish or grow in stature. No other malach can do that. They are created as they are and they're fixed. But the Satan can grow or diminish. Depending on the Jews, we strengthen evil. This is the bottom line. We can destroy it, and therefore we can also empower it. This is our problem. Therefore, there's two jobs now. We got to take back all the energy we gave the Satan, don't we? After thousands of years, Jews have sinned. So we got to take back all that energy. It's not enough just to bring down the energy of the spheres. What about all the energy the Satan took? So we have two jobs. The first job is to take back the energy that we gave the Satan, to bring it back in what's called the Sitra Kedusha, the side of holiness. Because right now it's in Sitra Achra, the other side, which is the side of the Satan. That's what it means, you see? So that's the first job. The second job is once we have all the Kedusha back in our hands, we now can bring down the rest of the Kedusha and transform this world into Olam Haba. Two jobs, you see. One is called Tahara. We need to purify, right? Therefore, we need to take back, okay, the Kedusha that he has. And the second thing is the concept of Kedusha is to bring it down. That's, by the way, why there are two Mashiachs. The Mashiach ben Yosef, and people make incredible amount of mistakes, astounding the ignorance out there. There are two Messiahs. Why? Because there are two jobs, you see. Originally, the first job was what? Just to avoid the Satan. And therefore, Adam Rishon was really the Mashiach ben David. And when he failed, he gave 70 years of his life to the Mashiach ben David. He had to resurrect the life of Mashiach ben David. Why? Because he failed. And that was his original job, is to bring down the holiness. After that, right, when we gave the Satan, he gave power to the Satan because he sinned. So now you have to have a Mashiach ben Yosef, you see. And the Mashiach ben Yosef is the individual that fights the Satan and the nations of the world, you see. And he takes back all the Kedusha, you see. And once that happens, Mashiach ben Yosef, which is a Messianic, he's a Messiah, don't get me wrong, okay? But he's a different type of Messiah than the Mashiach ben David. And then you have the Mashiach ben David, which is the real Messianic era, which I will talk about. Anyway, that's why there are two Messiahs, because there are two jobs as a result of the sin of Adam Harishon. Now, here's the way it works. If you do a mitzvah, you bring down the Kedusha. But if you do tshuva or suffer, you take it back from the Satan. You see, that's how it works. You see. So when a Jew repents, then what he really is doing is undoing the sin. He's saying, I'm sorry. I regret it. So automatically the Satan has to release the energy that he took from you because of your sin. And if a Jew suffers, not because he did a tshuva, but let's say he suffers, then the Satan has to do the same thing. He has to give back the energy, you see. So in the end, between the tshuva and the Yisurin, which is the Golus, that's why we're in Golus for 2,000 years, the Satan has to release all this energy back to the Jews. You see? This is the balance between the Jew and the Satan. Very interesting balance. And it's responsible for the entire history of man. It's fascinating to look. I do go into a lot of it in the original 25 hours if you want to look at that stuff. But I'm just telling you, this balance here between the Satan and Klal Yisrael and the Jewish people, who has the energy at any given moment? What's the balance? You have no idea how important that is. In other words, does he have more of the stuff and we have less? Or do we have the stuff and he has less? You see, that balance is the key hashgoch of the Rebbeinu Shalom, what's happening and so on. Great. Okay.